Senior Day. It's one of those days that makes you reflect on the journey of a lifetime. The first time picking up a football, the chill of those Friday night lights, the commitment on National Signing Day, the thrill of 107,000 plus, the privilege to don the blue and white. For 32 Penn State student athletes, today is a celebration of the latest chapter in their books. The Unrivaled Pregame Show, Senior Day edition, starts right now.
The Pennsylvania State University. Where the autumn leaves guide you straight to Happy Valley. Where football, family, and traditions connect us all. Where every Saturday, a new story is written.
Perfect day for football here in Happy Valley. There is nothing like playing in Happy Valley in front of 107,000 on Saturday afternoon.
So I'm really looking forward to this game this week.
Nobody in the world gets this opportunity today, other than us.
The 5, spinning, Dotson, touchdown, unbelievable.
One final Saturday in Beaver Stadium.
Oh, you can just start feeling it, Bill, don't you?
To write our story.
The ball is out, and the Katy sacks
To honor our traditions. To fight with our brothers. And to chase our dreams.
wide open. Dotson, touchdown, Penn State.
The rubber meets the road now. He's got a touchback and scores.
It don't ever matter what they do, huh?
It's caught. Touchdown.
It matter what we do. Hey, you feel me?
Some of us are born here. Some of us are drawn here. But we all call it home. We are
Welcome into the Unrivaled Pregame Show live from Beaver Stadium. I'm your host, Mitch Gerber. Coming up on today's show, we'll get you set for the 32nd edition of Penn State and Rutgers. We'll also set the stage for this matchup on a Senior Day edition, as we'll bring you exclusive coverage from top to bottom with Penn State's Senior Day ceremony. We'll also highlight one of Penn State's elite playmakers throughout his career here in Happy Valley. That's cornerback Tariq Castro-Fields, and we'll go one-on-one with Penn State letterman and NASCAR Cup champion Brandon Johnson on the Unrivaled Pregame Show. Weather report today looks like this: 44 degrees, sunny skies around kickoff, a real feel of 36 degrees. Some sun expected, but those crowds going to increasingly roll in as the afternoon goes on. So far, so good. It's a beautiful day here in Happy Valley. There was some frost on the field earlier this morning, but that is no longer the case. Penn State has won the last 14 matchups in this series and holds a 22-2 record against Rutgers at home. As we flash back to December 5th of 2020, SHI Stadium in Piscataway, New Jersey. The Nittany Lion offense gained 248 yards on the ground, led by that man right there, Kevon Lee, who had 95 yards on 17 carries, while Devin Ford tacked on a touchdown for Penn State on 65 yards. Sean Clifford had 15 of 22 on the day for 133 yards and a touchdown to that guy right there, number 3, Parker Washington. Penn State's defense held Rutgers to 205 total yards of offense, including just 83 rushing yards. Jesse Lucetta led Penn State's defense with 10 tackles, a tackle for loss, and a fumble recovery in that matchup. Penn State would go on to earn their 900th win in program history with a 23-7 victory over Rutgers. Tariq Castro-Fields was great in that matchup. Tariq Castro-Fields has been great for Penn State throughout his storied career here in Happy Valley, as the senior has had one heck of a time here in Beaver Stadium as well as on the road. Earlier this week, I caught up with his position coach, Terry Smith, to ask him what's made Tariq so good and so elusive here in Happy Valley.
Penn State brings pressure. It's picked up. Low throw, beautifully broken up. Darting out was Tariq Castro-Fields.
Centerpiece to Penn State's defense, Tariq Castro-Fields has trusted the process of Penn State football over the course of the past 5 years. Mitch Gerber alongside cornerbacks coach Terry Smith. Coach, if you go back to Tariq's recruiting process, how has his vision come to fruition at Penn State?
I'll tell you, it was a tough recruiting process. You know, Tariq didn't make his final decision till sometime that afternoon of signing day.
Tariq Castro-Fields!
It was probably 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and he was the last one to sign in that class. So, you know, we were sitting by the edge of our seat trying to make sure we get him, and we finally got him. You know, when you look back, he's had a great career. He's played a ton of football. He's been very productive. He's a great kid. He's got his degree. He's going to have an opportunity to go get drafted in the NFL, and couldn't be more proud and happy for him.
How have you seen him really embody the entire process, both on the football field and off the field, when it comes to being a Penn State student athlete?
Yeah, you know, just, you know, by graduating, you know, early, he graduated in the spring. You know, his growth as a student of the game, studying football, you know, he's ready for the next phase of his life. You know, from a freshman year where he didn't know how to study the game to now he's showing all of our underclassmen how to study the game. You know, he's a true leader in the room. He's great for our defense. He's great for our team. And, you know, you wish you could have many more Tariq Castro-Fields.
Number 5 has made some massive plays over his career here at Penn State University. Where have you seen him taking the biggest stride as a football player?
You know, his cover, you know, he's a tremendous cover guy. You know, he hasn't given up a touchdown in the air this year.
And now here's another look for a long play. It just slapped away and then intercepted.
Sikowski's going to take another shot, this time down the left sideline. Incomplete.
You know, he just makes plays and you know, he shuts down people. You know, he challenges where we need to challenge.
Castro-Fields and Joey Porter on the corners. They're big, they're long, they're physical.
You know, it's great when you have 2 corners on the outside that can cover guys man to man, and you know, Tariq's done a terrific job for our defense.
When I say the name Tariq Castro-Fields and you look at Beaver Stadium behind us and throughout his career, what's the one play that stands out in your head?
Really, I have 2 plays that stand out. You know, a few years back, we were in the whiteout against Michigan, and he picked a screen off.
It's a screen into traffic. It's intercepted. Tariq Castro-Fields with the first takeaway tonight.
That play showed his film study. He diagnosed the play, saw that it was a screen, and trusted his film study and made the big play. And then the second play was a few years ago, his homecoming back down to Maryland.
Intercept at the goal line. Picked off. It's Tariq Castro-Fields who comes home to Maryland and picks it off.
It really kind of changed that game and took it in a different direction for us, for a more positive direction.
Tariq Castro-Fields embodies the definition of a Penn State student athlete.
Well, Tariq Castro-Fields, nothing short of spectacular during his career here at Penn State University. Appreciate Terry Smith catching up with us. I have to agree with Terry. These 2 plays right here, the INT against Michigan during the Penn State whiteout back in 2019, absolutely lit that crowd up inside Beaver Stadium. And then this pick back in his hometown right here in the state of Maryland, big time for number 5, as Tariq Castro-Fields has had 133 tackles, 1 forced fumble, 25 pass breakups, 10 TFLs, 3 interceptions over his career here in Happy Valley. This was this season against Villanova. One of the best plays I think we've seen on the defensive side of the football. Tariq Castro-Fields with an absolutely electric pass breakup right there for an interception by Tig. That led to an interception by Tig, rather, in that matchup against Villanova. All right, we're going to step away from Beaver Stadium here for just a few moments as warm-ups continue behind us, and we do have to let you know that the Senior Day ceremony at 11:30 a.m. Eastern will be exclusive here on the Unrivaled Pregame Show, as you get exclusive looks at what's going on behind us right now with Rutgers. You're also getting a live look at Penn State's warm-ups, but for now, we're going to step away from Beaver Stadium and toss it over to Brooke Stake, who has more on today's matchup. Brooke?
Thanks, Mitch. Now, everyone here sees the flyover on TV and they can see it at home, but there's really so much 30 and you see the planes fly over. I got to speak with Major Mike Glass yesterday after him and the crew are preparing for the flyover that is happening just right after the which perfectly with Penn State's Military Appreciation Week and the game today, aside from Senior Day. Mike told me that the C-130J plane uses a flight crew for the purpose of today's and there's 5 flight crew members on board, including a pilot, co-pilot, CISO, and 2 load masters. Mike mentioned, like I said, it sure is a lot of build-up and preparation for even in combat, which includes 6 hours of planning for just 1 hour of flying. And I already knew this as this is in my hometown, but the 193 Special Operations is stationed at Pittsburgh International Airport. And they also have operations members at Fort Indian Town Gap, which I'm also very familiar with both my grandfathers serving in the military. Was actually the first ever command chief of the same exact flight in 1994. But today, Mitch, you can catch the planes just 1,000 feet above you, flying around 200. Had a strong, heartfelt conversation with Mike. I left this conversation stating he loves Penn State. He loves spending time here with his family. And he says that Penn OTC program. And I'll throw back to Beaver Stadium.
Thank you, Brooke, and I am here with the honorary captain for today's game. This is Dr. Tony Petroy. He was the 1982 drum major in the Blue Band. Of course, 1982, the first national championship in Penn State program history. And Tony, I'm just going to start with that. For the people who love the history of the program, was there a moment that stood out to you from that season? How cool was it to be a part of that championship run?
Yeah, it was amazing. The coolest moment for me was after I landed and did the split and saluted the crowd, and just to hear the overwhelming cheer. I think it was even from our opponents that cheered. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, and obviously back here today, getting to see the Blue Band in person, has it brought back some of those memories from back in the 80s?
Yeah, we went to the Blue Band rehearsal yesterday, and it was pretty cool to see them, and they sound amazing. They're fantastic.
Yeah, and then going off of that, obviously, part of the reason why you're here today as well is because you spent a lot of time in the Air Force after graduation, military appreciation game today. Overall, I guess, what were some of your biggest takeaways from your time overseas, and how did Penn State prepare you for life after college and life in the military?
You know, I had some amazing instruction and academics here at Penn State, but Dr. Bundy, who was the director of the Penn State Blue Band, he was really a strong influence on discipline and moving us forward into achieving what we want to achieve. And so he was a big support. So it prepared me to not only support and defend our country, but it put me in a different mindset that I was there for the right reason.
Right, absolutely. And being back here today as the honorary captain, what does it mean, especially with all these other former military members here today being honored? What does it mean for you to be here on Beaver Stadium's field right now?
So I got to be honest, I feel honored, I feel humbled, but more importantly, I feel excited.
Yeah.
Because to be able to be recognized for my service to Penn State, the Penn State Blue Band as the drum major, and then also to be recognized in the 10th year of military appreciation and recognition at Penn State is purely just a true honor for me that I was selected to be the co-captain.
Absolutely, absolutely. And drum major, going to do the flip. I know you did a number of flips in your day. How excited are you to see the Blue Band performing on the field today?
Yeah, it feels amazing to be back on the field and to just be able to see them do it in live. It's going to bring chills down my spine.
Absolutely. Well, you definitely know a lot about getting the people hype as the drum major. Again, thank you for being here today, and thank you for your service. And going off of hype, we're going to now get into the hype video for this week. This is the Penn State versus Rutgers hype video, queued up right now.
The Pennsylvania State University. Where the autumn leaves guide you straight to Happy Valley. Where football, family, and traditions connect us all. Where every Saturday, a new story is written.
Perfect day for football here in Happy Valley. There is nothing like playing in Happy Valley in front of 107,000 on Saturday afternoon.
So I'm really looking forward to this game this week.
Nobody in the world gets this opportunity other than us.
The 5, spinning, dancing, touchdown, unbelievable.
One final Saturday in Beaver Stadium.
Oh,
Oh, you can just start feeling it, Bill, don't you?
To write our story.
The ball is out, and McCady sacks
To
it.
honor our traditions. To fight with our brothers. And to chase our dreams.
Wide open, Dotson! Touchdown, Penn State!
The rubber meets the road now.
He has got a touchback and scores.
It don't ever matter what they do, huh?
It's caught! Touchdown!
It matter what we do. Hey, you feel me?
Some of us are born here. Some of us are drawn here. But we all call it home. We are.
And we welcome you back to the Unrivaled Pregame Show live from Beaver Stadium as we continue to get you set for kickoff between Penn State and Rutgers, which is set for noon Eastern on the Big Ten Network. We'll also carry Senior Day coverage at about 11:30 a.m. That'll last for about 10 minutes. But for now, pleased to be joined by Brandon Johnson, Penn State letterman and NASCAR Cup champion.
Yes, sir.
As you just helped Kyle Larson lead to his first championship cup. What have the last couple of weeks been like for you?
I feel like the last couple of weeks leading up to the championship race, we just kept it the same. You got to treat every week the same. No need in changing anything. I mean, we've had a dominant season. We just went in keeping our composure, and that's exactly what we did. As far as after the championship race, we celebrated for like 2 days, and we're already right back at it. So we're getting ready for 2022 one lug nut.
All right, so we're going to break this thing down from start to finish. And when I say start, your football career here ended in 2015. You went to the NFL for a little bit, and then you ultimately churned and flipped the page towards NASCAR. Yeah. At what point, how do you even start that?
All right, so one of my strength coaches, Little Deej, I don't think he's here anymore, but coming out, he asked me that I want to do NASCAR pit crew, and I'm like, what? No, I want to go to the league. And he's like, hold on now, just listen to me. He explained everything and like the type of money that you can make, the schedule. And I was like, you know what? It doesn't sound bad. I'll keep it as a backup plan. And once I got cut from the Steelers, I did train for 2 years trying to get back in. Nothing happened. And at that point, I had to make a decision. Either keep chasing football and this NASCAR pit crew may go away, or if I keep chasing football and NASCAR goes away, then I have to work a regular job, and that was something that I could not do. So I made a tough decision. It did suck at the moment, but I'm very glad that I did.
No kidding. Definitely glad that you made that decision. You spent some time here inside Beaver Stadium as you saw some warm-up shots right there. When you walked in here today for the first time in a little bit, and you're a NASCAR Cup Series champion, everything that you just talked about from Little Deej and the strength training staff here at Penn State University, how do you believe that your football career helped shape you into the individual that you are today in NASCAR?
I guess the biggest thing would be discipline. I mean, you know, football is a tough sport, and in order to excel at it, you have to really have a good head on your shoulders. And I mean, athleticism and technique, all that stuff plays into it, but those kind of things usually take care of themselves with preparation.
All right, final race of the year. I'm going to ask our producer to throw up some pictures on the screen that were taken by NASCAR right here. This is the 2-minute pit stop that is the world-renowned pit stop for the Championship Cup. 2 minutes, and you guys absolutely killed this pit stop. So in 2-minute terms, from the 2-minute drive on the football field to the seconds that this pit stop took place, how do you relate the two? Like, what is the difference between what's going on there?
They are pretty similar. All right, so 2-minute drill and that pit stop, actually any pit stop, you can't really think of it any differently than any other previous pit stop. The biggest thing I feel like would be composure. You have to be relaxed. If you're thinking about it, you're most likely gonna mess up, and that would have blew the whole race. I feel like keeping your composure.
So this is a dumb question, but at the same time, I'm curious. What is a jackman? Like, what do you do?
That's not a dumb question. All right, so I jack up the car on the right side, and I put on the right front. And then when I drop the car and run around to the left side, I jack it up and I put on the left rear tire. And then, I drop it, send them off.
All right, so we're talking what, 15, 20 seconds somewhere in there? What's a usual pit stop time?
No. You have a 15, 20-second pit stop, you will get dusted.
Oh, like that's negative.
Yeah, that's super slow. On average, low 12s. You're having a pretty solid day, but if you can crank off a high 11, that's moving.
I feel like you could still put on some pads right behind us right now.
I think I could too. I wish I could. I miss it so much. I really wish I could.
What do you miss about Penn State and obviously the opportunities you had here?
Everything. Honestly, this atmosphere, the game itself. I think about it often, probably a little more than I should, but I don't think it'll ever leave.
That cup picture that I'm going to ask our producer again to throw up the cup picture right there. So I don't know exactly where this is, but that's a pretty special moment for you to be able to sit there with the cup and take that photo that you will have forever. What was going through your head in this instance and a couple of days after when you're celebrating?
Just being thankful. I mean, so this is my first year being a starter on a house car, and to go all the way to the Cup Series championship and win it, it's been a great moment. I'm very grateful.
Man, talk about adversity, talk about pressure, talk about preparation, all things that you can learn with the game of football as it relates to NASCAR. It sounds like. Brandon, appreciate you stopping by on the Unrivaled Pregame Show. Unfortunately, we won't see you out on the field today. I'm so confident, though, that you could put on some pads.
You too. Thanks for having me.
That's Brandon Johnson joining us on the Unrivaled Pregame Show as we continue to count you down to kickoff between Penn State and Rutgers at noon Eastern on the Big Ten Network. If you're not able to make it into attendance today, that's where you can watch this game. We will not have Steve Jones to break down our players to watch in this matchup, unfortunately, because of the late start with the pregame show that we are going to be able to carry the Senior Day ceremony. That means Steve has to do his radio obligations. So unfortunately, Steve Jones will not provide us a player to watch in today's matchup. I know that some of you love that segment with the voice of the Nittany Lions. There you see Jaquan Brisker right there on your screen, the transfer from Lackawanna Community College. Him and Jair Brown have been absolutely spectacular this season in that secondary for Penn State's defense. You're also going to look at some linebackers right there for Penn State football. But fans, don't forget to join us for the Unrivaled postgame show following today's contest, as we'll recap today's game with head coach James Franklin, as well as select Penn State student athletes. Every single week, don't forget to tune into the Unrivaled podcast as well. That's the official podcast of Penn State football. This week's episode features 3 members of the tight ends room: Brenton Strange, Theo Johnson, Tyler Warren, and much more on the Unrivaled podcast. A great episode with those 3 tight ends for Penn State University. Talked about what the tight end room was like on a day-to-day basis. Someone's a snack junkie in that room, so be sure to go listen to that edition of the Unrivaled podcast. Once again, Unrivaled podcast, the official podcast of Penn State football. Some milestones for you guys as you take a look at some of those players going off the field and into the locker room, including Jahan Dotson right there. He's 432 yards shy of 3,000 career receiving yards. Obviously a long ways to go, but just going to read through some milestones that will obviously play a factor down the stretch here for Penn State football over the course of the next couple of games. Quarterback Sean Clifford, the Cincinnati, Ohio native, 692 yards shy of 8,000 career passing yards. He just passed that 7,000 career passing mark a few weeks back. He's 128 yards shy of 1,000 career rushing yards. Jordan Stout right there, the specialist for Penn State University. Head coach James Franklin dapping up his players, offensive linemen, defensive linemen, all a factor here today for Penn State football. Wide receiver Jahan Dotson, we just touched on. Running back Kevon Lee, 187 yards shy of 1,000 career rushing yards. Running back John Lovett, the New Jersey native. He's playing his hometown school right down the road. He's just 20 yards shy of 2,000 career rushing yards. And Jonathan Sutherland, number 0 redshirt senior, 10 tackles shy of 100 career tackles. That noise you hear behind us on set right now is Rutgers finishing up their pregame warm-ups as Penn State continues to conclude their pregame warm-ups as well. Pretty cool access for those tuned in to the Unrivaled pregame show right now. Access you won't find anywhere else. All season long we've carried Team Arrival coverage for you, and we did get a little snippet of that for you today with head coach James Franklin as he arrived to the stadium after just about 9:30 a.m. Eastern time, 9:38 Eastern to be exact, as he walked into Beaver Stadium for the final time here in 2021. And obviously gave thanks to everybody that's involved, with the team photographer, Mark Selders, right there, to all of those on the front lines, being able to make sure that security is tight and ready to go here in a matchup against Rutgers. Obviously, that's something that is every single week, but this is what Coach Franklin does every single home game. He walks through, thanks everybody from the DJ to the support staff to the team photographers, you name it. It's all a part of who head coach James Franklin is and what he does on this pregame lap as he walks around the field and gets ready for this matchup between Penn State and Rutgers. Penn State linebacker core up on the top left-hand side of your screen. Ellis Brooks, he's been absolutely stellar for Penn State's defense this season. Kind of one of those breakout guys and the unexpected guys when it comes to the names that jumped off the page in the preseason. But there he is, Ellis Brooks. He continues to make waves in this Penn State defense. 32 members going to be recognized for Penn State's Senior Day in about 4 minutes and 46 seconds, as that Senior Day ceremony will be carried live here on the Unrivaled Pregame Show. Well, fans, if you missed anything earlier from this edition of the Unrivaled Pregame Show, to be sure to push pause or wait till we're done going live and go back and watch what happened earlier. We did a unique feature on Tariq Castro Fields, the cornerback who will celebrate Senior Day today, as well as 31 others, as soon as Penn State's offense is wrapped up doing their pregame warm-ups right now. Jonathan Sutherland that you see right there, he's 10 tackles shy of a milestone mark for this Penn State football program. He's had a great career here so far for Penn State University. 10 tackles shy of 100 career tackles is number 0. Introductions getting underway right now for Penn State up on the video board, and this is the atmosphere as we bring it to you live right now on the Unrivaled Pregame Show. That is every single week. Lots of players, lots of coaches, everything that goes into what makes up the Unrivaled Pregame Show and the production here inside Beaver Stadium on a week-in and week-out basis. Penn State will take on Michigan State next week on the road to conclude the regular season here in 2021. But for now, it's Rutgers in the final home edition of the 2021 season for Penn State football. Penn State looking to get a win here today at noon Eastern on the Big Ten Network, or as always, you can listen to Steve Jones and company on the Penn State Sports Network. I would get yelled at right now by Steve for saying "and company." Jack Ham, obviously a big part of what makes up that broadcast team up there in the booth between those two. Jaquan Brisker, the safety from Lackawanna right there, transfer. Him and Jair Brown, as mentioned a few moments ago, have been absolutely spectacular for Penn State's secondary this season. Saw Tariq Castro Fields earlier break up a pass that led to an interception by Jair Brown. Great play right there back against that Villanova game. There's Ellis Brooks, or actually there's a wide receiver core right there. Well, wide receivers for Penn State University continuing to do big things. Got to thank DeWalt for bringing the heating and cooling benches for Penn State University today. Today it's all about the heat in those things. It's about a real feel of 36 degrees here inside Beaver Stadium as DeWalt brings those benches to you. And Penn State football all season long on the sidelines. If you are in attendance or watching on TV, be sure to take a quick note of what those benches look like. Pretty cool addition for Penn State football here in 2021. Heated benches. At this time of year, cool in the early fall, back in September. Was to see the pump up right there for Penn State football. Looks like, I believe that is Fred leading the way right now for Penn State football. Getting, oh no. Can't exactly tell who that is. That doesn't look like Fred. That actually looks like Congo. Congo for Penn State football. 54 getting that unit fired up for this matchup between Penn State and Rutgers. There they go, back into the locker room. The Senior Day ceremony will get underway here in 1 minute and 30 seconds. As we'll bring that to you live here inside Beaver Stadium exclusively on the Unrivaled Pregame Show. Hopefully everybody enjoys it, whether you are overseas, whether you're watching in a completely different country, or right down the road here in Happy Valley. Possibly some of you out at the tailgate watching here on your phone or on the TV via Apple whatever it might be. Appreciate all of you tuning in to the Unrivaled Pregame Show. 156 viewers live right now tuning in for this edition as we bring you Senior Day coverage live. Rutgers about to go off the field. They'll go back into the locker room. They're getting hyped up right now, obviously, for this matchup between Penn State and Rutgers. They'll go back into the locker room, and then the Senior Day ceremony will get underway in 49 seconds to be precise. About 30 minutes left on the clock. At 11:30 is when the Senior Day ceremony will start for Penn State football. So for now, we're going to turn it over and wait Penn State to come out of that tunnel with their 32 seniors. We'll go through some of them right now that will be recognized. Not sure we'll get through all 32 in this 30 seconds of time right here, but Jaquan Brisker, who we've talked about a little bit on the Unrivaled Pregame Show. Oh, look at that. Not even going to get through 31 of them. We got through one of them, Jaquan Brisker. All right, let's turn it over to Dean DeVore, the voice of Beaver Stadium, for Senior Day coverage.
Corey Daniels, Nate Fangio, Ryan Ognuski, and Domenico Pereno. And from video, Jared Butterfield, Nolan Hinfey, Matt Horan, Josh Phillips, and Jake Schnell. And now for our 32 senior players who have made their contributions to Penn State football, including 2 wins in New Year's 6 bowl games. Graduating in December with a degree in broadcast journalism, he is joined by his parents Sam and Patricia, defensive tackle number 97, P.J. Mustafer. Graduating in December with a degree in communications, arts, and sciences, he is joined by parents Jawan and Majoni. Safety number 1, Jaquan Brisker. Graduated last spring with a degree in psychology and pursuing a second degree in journalism, joined by parents Keith and Jessica. Linebacker number 13, Ellis Brooks. Graduating this summer with a degree in Recreation, Parks, and Tourism Management, joined by his mother, Buffy. Running back number 4, Journey Brown. Graduated last spring with a degree in Sociology, pursuing a second degree in Criminology, joined by his mother, Erlinda D. Cornerback number 5, Tariq Castro Fields. Graduating in the spring with a degree in Hospitality Management, joined today by Assistant Athletic Director for Performance Enhancement, Dwight Galt III. Specialist number 90, Rafael Cheka. Graduated last spring with a degree in Corporate Innovation and Entrepreneurship, pursuing a second degree in Psychology, joined by his parents Brian and Amy. Linebacker number 50, Max Chismar. Graduated last fall with a degree in Advertising and Public Relations, pursuing a second degree in Journalism, joined by parents John and Kelly. Quarterback number 14, Sean Clifford. Graduating in the spring with a degree in Telecommunications, joined by his parents Alan Robin. Wide receiver number 5, Jahan Dotson. Graduating with a degree in Sport and Recreational Management, pursuing a second degree in Telecommunications, joined by sisters Nancy and Ellie and brother Yvonne. Defensive end number 17, Arnold Ebiketti. Graduated with a degree in Exercise Science and pursuing a second degree in Telecommunications, joined by parents Winston and Aisha. Wide receiver number 89, Winston Eubanks. Graduating in the spring with a degree in Marketing, joined by his parents Jim and Allison. Wide receiver number 81, Henry Fessler. Graduated last spring with a degree in Journalism, pursuing a second degree in Media Studies, joined by parents Fred and Roxanne. Defensive tackle number 53, Fred Hansard. Graduated last summer with a degree in Telecommunications, pursuing a second degree in Media Studies, joined by his father Steve and stepmother Stephanie. Safety number 37, Drew Hartlaub. Graduating in the spring with a degree in Russian, he is joined by his parents, Doug and Lindy. Specialist number 95, Vlad Hilling. Graduated last fall with a degree in journalism, pursuing a second degree in media studies. Offensive lineman number 75, Des Holmes. Graduated in December with a degree in communications arts and sciences, joined by parents Greg and Deanna. Specialist number 93, Bradley King. Graduating in the spring with a degree in labor and human resources, he is joined by mother Jennifer. Offensive lineman number 50, Will Knutson. Graduating in the spring with a degree in agricultural sciences, he is joined by parents JJ and Allison. Offensive lineman number 59, Caleb Conegus. Graduated with a degree in kinesiology and pursuing a second one in communication arts and sciences, joined by his brothers Max, Shamal, and Romavi. Running back number 10, John Lovett. Graduated last spring with a degree in criminology and pursuing a second degree in labor and employment relations, joined by his mother Rose. Defensive end number 40, Jesse Lucetta. Graduating in the spring with a degree in hospitality management, he is joined by his parents, John and Chandra. Cornerback number 8, Jordan Miner. Graduated last fall with a degree in telecommunications, pursuing a second degree in media studies, joined by his parents, Ray and Teresa. Offensive lineman number 73, Mike Miranda. Graduated last spring with a degree in telecommunications, pursuing a second degree in labor and human resources, joined by parents Rodney and Shelley. Specialist number 98, Jordan Stout. Graduated last fall with a degree in broadcast journalism, pursuing a second degree in telecommunications, joined by his father Roderick and stepmother Linda. Wide receiver number 6, Cam Sullivan Brown. Graduated last fall with a degree in labor and employment relations, pursuing a master's degree in educational leadership, joined by assistant athletics director for performance enhancement, Coach Dwight Galt III, and performance dietitian, Leanne Loudon. Safety number 0, Jonathan Sutherland. Graduated with a degree in sociology, pursuing a second degree in communication arts and sciences, joined by parents Angelo and Marie Pauline. Defensive tackle number 54, Derek Tangelo. Graduated in December with a degree in kinesiology, joined by parents Bruce and Shelley. Defensive end number 98, Daniel Vasey. Graduated in the spring of 2020 with a degree in finance, and in the spring of 2021 with a master's in real estate analysis and development. He will graduate in spring 2022 with a second master's in corporate finance, joined by parents Jeff and Carol. Wide receiver number 83, Justin Weller. Graduated last summer with a degree in recreation, parks, and tourism management, pursuing a second degree in telecommunications, joined by parents Kay and Roberta. Offensive lineman number 55, Anthony Wiggin. Graduating in December with a bachelor's degree in biobehavioral health, joined by his mother Muriel and stepfather Samuel. Wide receiver number 87, Ben Wilson. Graduated with a degree in psychology, pursuing a second degree in media studies, joined by his parents Bruce and Kate. Offensive lineman number 68, Eric Wilson. Congratulations to our graduating seniors. Today's senior ceremony is brought to you by the Penn State Alumni Association, the proud sponsor of Senior Day activities across Penn State Intercollegiate Athletics.
Well, that concludes the 2021 edition of Penn State's Senior Day. 32 members make up that class right there. Obviously, there's a lot that goes into that, as head coach James Franklin addressed earlier this week during his press conference that isn't all set and stone, so there will be a lot of decisions still to be made here over the course of the next couple of weeks, but special moment for those 32 individuals, including Journey Brown. Great to see Penn State football continue to emphasize his presence here in Happy Valley. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of the Unrivaled Pregame Show live from Beaver Stadium. Don't forget to join us for the Unrivaled Postgame Show directly after today's contest between Penn State and Rutgers. We'll see you then.
The Pennsylvania State University. Where the autumn leaves guide you straight to Happy Valley. Where football, family, and traditions connect us all. Where every Saturday, a new story is written.
Perfect day for football here in Happy Valley. There is nothing like playing in Happy Valley in front of 107,000 on Saturday afternoon.
So I'm really looking forward to this game this week.
Nobody in the world gets this opportunity today other than us. The 5, spinning, Dotson, touchdown, unbelievable.
One final Saturday in Beaver Stadium.
Oh, you can just start feeling it, Bill, don't you?
To write our story.
The ball is out, and the Katy sacks
To honor our traditions. To fight with our brothers. And to chase our dreams.
wide open, Dotson, touchdown, Penn State. The rubber meets the road now.
He's got a touchback and scores.
It don't ever matter what they do, huh?
It's caught. Touchdown.
It matter what we do. Hey, you feel me?
Some of us are born here. Some of us are drawn here. But we all call it home. We are